Okay, welcome back, everyone. 2:53 right now, and I believe Sheriff Tom Dart is on the line, ready to speak. Are you there?
How you doing? Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for making time for us. We know that you're a busy guy. Obviously, this is in response to the arrest of 7 people there for this drug bust in the South Loop. Tell me a little bit more about what was going on.
Well, we opened an office in June over at State and Roosevelt because we had looked at some data showing that there were some crime issues in the area that we could help with by having an office there. Almost immediately, we were hearing from citizens all around the area that there was somewhat of an open air drug market that was going on in the area. And very quickly, we were able to see what they were talking about. So soon thereafter, we just started a couple of different undercover operations, and they resulted in recent arrests of 7 people. We're looking for an 8th person now, but all in regards to drug dealing. We've made a lot of other arrests in the area as well over the course of the last 6 months, but this particular case was, I guess what you would explain is the system somewhat working, that citizens reach out to law enforcement about a concern, and then we go about trying to address it.
Yeah, I think that is such an important aspect to this because throughout the city, there maybe it's, and I was saying this before we went to the break, maybe it's not a drug market in your neighborhood, but a lot of times people wonder, if I speak up, will anything happen?
Yeah. It's sometimes when people are in government, they always dismiss that and say, "Oh no, we're on top of everything." No, it's just not true. We're human. We make mistakes. We sometimes aren't listening as well as we should. And so all I can tell people, yeah, those things do occur, but we absolutely need their involvement, both to get us in the right direction, but then also at times to become witnesses in the whole 9 yards. In this case, we don't need witnesses. We handle that aspect of it, but it's something where none of these problems are going to be addressed if the community isn't involved. And it's so easy for people in government to say that, literally to foist the responsibility back on the citizens. It's like, you need to do all the work. We're not saying that. We just need to have your engagement enough so we know where to go, what the general issue is, and things that we can do to help. And I can't emphasize enough to you, we've been doing this for obviously quite a few years. Some of our best efforts come about as a result of information from citizens.
Yeah, it's so important. Now, if people are thinking, well, why is the sheriff's office involved and not Chicago PD? How does that happen?
That's something it's interesting. So I've been doing this job for quite a while now, and that question has been there forever, since the first day I started till now. And I completely get it. The idea of sheriffs in our jurisdiction versus Chicago's or versus any other town in the county, it's hard for people to get their arms around. The bottom line is that the sheriff's office can and does operate in any town or village or city in the county. We do it more often than not in unison with the other department from that town. Sometimes we don't. But the gist of it is we have jurisdiction everywhere in the county. We can go and help anywhere. And so if a police department has got loads of other issues, if a police department their officers are known by local drug dealers so that they can't do undercover work, for a range of different reasons, we can supplement and help. And so with the different operations we have within the city of Chicago, we have the office, as I mentioned, on Roosevelt, but we also have an office on Chicago and State Street. We have one on Clark Street. And we even have a small office inside the Water Tower place as well. Those are all meant to supplement things that the Chicago Police Department's doing. Some of it is purely independent of Chicago. Some of it is things that we're doing together as a team. But at all times, we both of us know what the other one's doing.
Yeah. Some people will wonder, with, and again, it goes back into you can't be everywhere. We do understand that. But that is such a busy area where this drug bust took place. Like, how is an open air drug market taking place over there? I mean, I know so many business owners over there, whether it's, a clothing boutique, a coffee shop. I even had a doctor that was right over there that actually moved because of that activity that was in the area. How does an open air market exist in an area with so much foot traffic?
I think part of it is the nature of the location because of its proximity to the red line there. There's just lots of movement. So even when there's operations done, people will then come back because it's a lively area for what they're doing. And that's why it's incumbent upon us, Chicago Police Department, to not do just one-offs. And we're not planning. Obviously, we opened up an office right there. But the key is making sure that you just don't, frankly, check the box off. You listen to some citizens, they had a problem, we went and arrested some people, and we moved on. It's like, no. If we don't stay on top of that, then this will go on forever. There'll be pauses and that'll be it. So we got to stay there. But I know I've talked with my staff specifically because we look at camera footage and all sorts of other things in the area, to be honest with you. And we were looking at more along the lines of what are the other things that we could do to make it less conducive. Because at one point someone was pointing out to me literally that here's two people right now on camera, look like that's what they're up to. And I was told this is where they always sit on this wall here. And I said, well, okay, we'll work on the undercover buy, but how about if we work on the wall too? Let's make it so that that wall's not there, so that this person doesn't have a place where they can just sit and chill out. Let's make it also as uncomfortable as possible for that activity to go on. So my point is A, all of us, we can't leave. We got to do a sustained effort. But B, we got to think outside the box on a range of different things: cameras, physical benches, and things like that. All different things that make it easier for people.
Yeah, because ultimately, going back into even like the doctor that left that area, it does affect, if you've bought a place in the area, you live there, maybe you can't immediately move. But for those who do business in the area, I know there are a multitude of things that weigh on business owners, but the crime in the area is one of them for sure.
Oh, it is literally nuts not to understand that is such an important factor. I mean, think about just the common sense part of it. If you're the business owner, you yourself are going in on that business every day. Clearly, not only is it something you don't want to watch, but you don't want to be approached by it. And are guns frequently mixed in with drugs? Of course they are. But then think about them when they're thinking about their customer base, whoever whatever their job business might be. Is this an environment that they're going to be attracting more customers? Customers are going to want to come back. Customers are going to want to tell friends, hey, you got to go to this store. No, the first thing that's going to come out of their mouth is, oh, wow, I went to that store. Really nice people in there, but boy, walking in there, my God, that was scary. Or I walked up there and there's two different people tried to sell me dope on the way in. Anybody in government who's telling you that that's not real is just lying to your face, just lying to your face. And that's what we have to do. We have to make sure that these environments don't have that. And then, it's funny. Most of the time when I'm dealing with citizens in regards to, they're so reasonable. They are. You occasionally get someone who's unreasonable. Once in a while, it just doesn't happen that often. These are folks looking for basic things to make the area how it should be. They're not like saying, oh, Tom, can you sprinkle gold dust on the entryway of my place? No, they're just saying, hey, can you make sure there's no crime out in front of my place? I would suggest that's sort of what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. So as I'm looking at this list of people that were arrested, the ages are pretty wide ranging. I know one of the other issues, and you mentioned, guns and drugs kind of go hand in hand. One of the other issues for that area has been when we see the teen takeovers, when it's summertime mainly that we see in that area. So yeah, hopefully you all are there for a while because that's been another complaint for that specific area.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where physically having officers down there, yes, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay down there. Having the office, it's sort of strange, but having a physical location like that, it just naturally has a deterrent effect too. And so it was very important when we decided to do this to get that. We got the space donated. As we did the other spaces in downtown Chicago. So once again, how about that? There's the business community stepping right up, saying, here, Sheriff, here's a building for free. So we're not going anywhere. Having the physical structure there is going to be incredibly helpful as well for a range of different reasons. But you have to have this sustained effort. Otherwise, none of this is going to work.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the red line goes right through there. Obviously, we just had a major story that took place on the blue line just a couple of weeks ago, and the conversation about ankle monitoring came up in that particular incident of the woman who was set on fire on the blue line. Can you explain? Your office was handling it, and then it went to the Chief Justice. Explain where that is and what happened there.
So for the longest time, the Sheriff's Office ran a home monitoring program. At the same time, the Chief Judge ran a home monitoring program. When I was running it, I still am running, but just a handful of people left on my program. But when I was running the program, the Chief Judge did as well. We were running it because it was part of an old consent decree from the 1960s and 70s. I was the only sheriff in the country running a home monitoring program. Nobody else did. It was all run by the judiciary all around the country. Ours was unique because of a consent decree. We were happy, but we were running it. It was something that we had run for many, many years very effectively. The legislature changed the laws like 3 years ago within the Safety Act. There was things in the Safety Act that were good. There was things in it that weren't good. And one of the things that was not good was it allowed anybody on home monitoring to have 2 days a week where I had to shut the monitor off. And that's just literally what it was. They had what was called free movement, supposedly to go food shopping and other things. None of that was done in consultation with us. And we said, no, my program won't work because we hold people accountable. If you're not where you're supposed to be, we go out and get you. If you don't show up in time for your work, we go out and get you. The Chief Judge's program is more of a curfew program where they are supposed to be at places at night, but not during the day. And there's nuances to it. But ours was a much more hardened program where you had to be certain places at certain times. Once the legislature, in their infinite wisdom, decided to say 2 days a week, Sheriff, you got to shut it off, I went to them for 2 years to say, listen, can you fix this? I can't run a program safely when I can't see people for 2 days a week. Given the fact that over 100 of the people on my program at the time were charged with murder or attempt murder, it's like, this cannot be done. This is reckless. And I asked them over and over again. They wouldn't do it. And then they changed some of the AWOL rules, so if people were taking off, I wasn't able to bring people in front of the judges immediately. They made all these changes to where I couldn't run the program properly anymore. And I said, listen, if we don't change this back to the way it used to be, I can't keep running a program where I'm basically lying to the public saying everything's great here, we're watching these people, when I know full well 2 days a week, I'm not watching them. So eventually it got to the point where it's like, listen, you're not changing it. I'm not required by law to run the program. I'm not going to continue to run a program that I know I can't run effectively. And so then the Chief Judge's office ended up picking up they have all the home monitoring now goes to them. But they had been running a program beforehand. It's just they've always run a different program than ours. Ours was much stricter rules and all the rest of it.
Respectfully, it doesn't seem like anyone is running the program effectively because we keep having these situations that come up, very serious situations, and then find out that a person was on a home ankle monitor.
Well, that was one of the points I made too at the very beginning too, is when this person comes in front of the judge, they have a range of things that they can do with this person. So there's people that just should not be on home monitoring. And I made that point really clear. When we had the program all those years, it was for nonviolent offenders. And once again, without any consultation with us, they changed that and started putting violent people on there and said, that's not what this program's for. And they kept doing it. And then all of a sudden they said, okay, in 2 days a week, you can't watch people either. It's like, we can't keep lying to the public and tell them, oh, everything's going well here, when we know that's not going on here. So, this should not have been like this, but that's what they chose.
And so now it lies with the Chief Justice. We have a new Chief Justice. So I want to ask you a couple of things. One, what went through your mind when that situation happened on the blue line, and we found out, the person was on an ankle monitor after the program had switched from your office to his. And then I'd also like to ask you about this new committee that's being formed by the new Chief Justice to look over this particular program.
Well, we told everyone on day one when we said that we cannot effectively run this program anymore. We told them we gave, I think, like a year and a half run up. It wasn't something where we said on Monday we're not running the program and it stops Tuesday. No, no, no. We had like a year and a half where we said, listen, we'll work with people, we'll work for a transition. We're not leaving. If you need our help, we'll be happy to help you with a range of different things. So we've said that all along. As far as the new chief judge, he and I have spoken. I'm real excited to work with him, and I told him it's literally a blank check. I'll help you in any way you need me to help, any way you want me to help. We are quite knowledgeable in this area. Happy to give you some ideas and suggestions. As I say, I can't force people to do different things, but I can strongly advocate that, like, this is a group of people that probably shouldn't be on home monitoring. This group here, if you're going to put them on home monitoring, you have to have it where you're watching them all the time, not just at nighttime, but all the time. And there's got to be real consequences like we used to have if they violate it. So I'll be happy to sit and talk on different things that we learned over the years. Most of it's common sense, to be frank with you.
Well, hopefully you all figure it out, for the safety of everyone, because obviously it's just a lot when we hear the person was being monitored after we hear about the crime that was committed while they were supposed to be monitored. Thank you so much.
I know very little about that monitoring of that individual because it wasn't one of our cases. So I don't know, other than what I read in the newspapers, as far as, why, when the person didn't show up, someone didn't go get them. I have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time and, again, your attention to the things that are happening, and especially responding when people are speaking up about things that are happening, because I just think that's such a pivotal point for all communities to understand that when you say that something is happening in your area, that someone will listen and actually do something about it.
You're so right. So right. That's how you build that connection that we always talk about between law enforcement and the community. That's how you do it.
Mm-hmm. Sheriff Dart, thank you so much.
Thank
have
you so
a good
much.
rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.